Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
You can create calculated columns and measures from the tables shown in the Powerpivot data model to create values within a table, which you can then add to pivot tables and pivot charts. This is one of the primary reasons to use the Powerpivot add-in versus the standard pivot tables within Excel. There are many different types of formulas available within the Powerpivot data model that let you calculate values of the existing columns within a table. These formulas are not always exactly the same as the standard workbook formulas within Excel. These formulas are called Dax formulas and sometimes use a slightly different function and syntax to calculate values than normal Excel functions. However, the syntaxes are very similar. Excel will assist you in creating the Dax formulas for calculated columns and fields, so you won't need to worry about the syntax of the formulas that you create. You create calculated columns within a table to create a column value you can then summarize within the pivot chart or pivot table in the Values section. For example, if you had both a quantity and unit price field within an order details table, you could create a new calculated column that displays the result of the product of these two columns as an order total calculated column. You could then add this new column to the Values section of a pivot chart or pivot table to find the sum of order totals for a given grouping. Other uses for a calculated column would be to derive a new column that you can use in the row or columns sections within a pivot table or pivot chart. For example, if you had the order date field in an orders table but wanted to group results based on the quarter of the year in which the order was placed, you could create a calculated column within the table that would display the quarter of the year for each associated order date value. You could then add this newly created column into the desired section within a pivot chart or pivot table to group by the values returned by this calculated column. To create a calculated column in a table within the Powerpivot data model, first select the tab of the table within the data model window. Then click into the topmost cell within the Add Column column at the far right end of the table. You can then enter the formula you want the column to calculate into the selected field. Note that for formulas you enter by hand, the formula appears within the formula bar. You start by entering the equal sign, followed by field names enclosed in brackets, joined together by the standard mathematical operators. Note that you can also simply click the field names of the fields within the table to add a field reference to the formula that you enter. Then simply click the checkmark button in the formula bar or press the Enter key on your keyboard to accept the formula. You can also create a formula that uses a function by clicking the Insert Function button in the Calculations button group on the Design tab of the ribbon in the Data Models window to open the Insert Function dialog box. This dialog box shows the functions you can insert. You can select a function within this listing to see the function and any additional arguments it requires at the bottom of the dialog box. Select a function to use for the formula from the listing, and then click the OK button to insert it into the formula bar. You can then finish entering the additional arguments the function requires into the formula bar. Then click the checkmark button in the formula bar or press the Enter key on your keyboard to accept the formula.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.